So welcome to the 2021 Daviess County 4-H Beef Show. We're going to begin the show this evening with two classes of mini 4-Hers. So if we have out there our Class A, we're ready for them to go ahead and bring into the ring, and if they want assistance, certainly provide assistance when they come in. Our judge this evening is Andy Lowry. Andy is from Owensville in Gibson County, a former 10-year 4-H member and currently is a 4-H leader and beef superintendent. Farms corn, beans, wheat, and cattle. Has 3 boys and at least another child on the way in the next month. So, well, Andy, welcome to Daviess County. If you are in Class B of the Mini 4-H, let's go ahead and come to the makeup area as well. So do you have everybody, Josh? Let's send them in, please. Coming into the ring is Bridget Arms, Graham Baker, Brayley Bennett, and Chloe Andrews. And Isaac Rhodes. We also would like to welcome Sandy Nykum, our District 5 Indiana State Fair Board Director, who is here this evening, sitting up in the stands on the north side. Thank you for being with us. If you are in the mini Class B, please head to the makeup area. Class B to the makeup area. Helping us out this evening with ribbons is our 10-year member, Reed Morris. Reed is a son of Matt and Rhea Morris, a member of the Kidding Around 4-H Club, a recent North Daviess graduate, and plans to attend Rolls-Holman Institute of Technology for mechanical engineer. Please give Reed a nice hand of applause.
Well, it's nice to be here, and thanks for having me tonight to sort through your cattle and work with your kids. And I like that you started off with the young kids this evening. This is kind of nice, and looks like you've got a lot of interest going forward, especially with another class after this, the way it sounds. So a lot of nice, polite young people, and a lot of nice calves that they're bringing out here. Let's give these kids a round of applause. Hopefully they're out here for another 10 or 12 years.
So leading out will be Bridget Arms, followed by Graham Baker, Brayley Bennett, Chloe Andrews, and Isaac Rhodes. You all did a great job. Thank you for coming in. Next will be our mini beef class B, of which we have at least 3 entries. And for you exhibitors in the heifer side, we will begin right away with the heifer show following this next mini class, and there are several single individual classes, so it may move fairly quickly, so be prepared. So coming in, we have Sawyer Baker, Brock Arms, and Kendall O'Brien. Following this class, we'll begin, and if you want to come to the makeup area, our Class 1 Angus Summer Yearling will be our next class. Come to the makeup area.
three more nice, young, polite young people that we hope are showing cattle here in a few years. But I really do like that you start the show off like this, probably the most important class of the night. And it gives these kids time to be out here in the ring and get used to coming in the ring and seeing the judge and talking to the judge. So I commend the committee and everybody involved for doing this, because this is really nice. Let's give these young people a round of applause, please.
And Sawyer, if you want to lead out. Sawyer Baker. Followed by Brock Arms. And Kendall O'Brien.
Champion ribbon in the first.
We're now ready to begin with our Class 1 Angus Summer Yearling. It is our only Angus entry. So bring that one into the ring. Let's go ahead and bring our Class 2 maintainer to the makeup area. Class 2 to makeup. And this is Wyatt Barber with the Angus Summer Yearling. For those of you that do have programs, you'll notice some animals have a star next to the name of the young exhibitor. Those would be Daviess County bred cattle.
Nice single entry the young man brings out here to start your heifer show off, and an Angus heifer that is, when you set her in motion, you like her structural sound as she takes a nice athletic stride. You like her natural rib shape, and honestly, I think you get some other cattle out here in the ring with her, and she'll be a little more comfortable out here. So let's give the young man a round of applause, and we'll bring her back out for our champion, Angus.
And your Class 1 Summer Yearling exhibited by Wyatt Barber, and it is your champion, Angus Heifer, and that trophy is donated in memory of Walter Harner. Our Class 2 is a maintainer division, and we only have one maintainer heifer, and if we'll get a chance to bring that one into the ring. Exhibiting the maintainer junior yearling is Colin Bennett. Class 3 to the makeup area. I think he was as well.
Really like the eye appeal and the structural sound of this maintainer heifer. She comes into the ring and could stand some competition. Young man does a good job with this heifer, and again, let's give him a round of applause as he exits the ring, please.
And your Class 2 maintainer junior yearling exhibited by Colin Bennett, and he will be your champion maintainer, and that banner is donated by the Tony Barber family. We will see most of these animals back in here later for Supreme Heifer Championships. So we're ready now for Class 3 Kianina. And lead again is Cale Baker.
Really do have to appreciate the power that this Kenia heifer brings into the ring tonight. Really thick-ended, really wide-based, like the foot size. Nice strong top in this heifer. Let's give the young man a round of applause, and we'll move on to your next breed.
From Class 3, your Keenina Junior Yearling, exhibited by Cale Baker, and that banner is donated by Corn Pro Trailers. Our next 3 classes are all Hereford classes. Because of age, they will be treated individually. So we'll begin with Class 4, a late junior yearling. And leading in is Taylor Ferguson. Class 5 to the makeup.
A lot of nice things about this single entry Hereford heifer. Really like the length of spine, the length of hip this heifer has. You like the femininity she has through her front end, and I love how she bounces up from the side. Young lady does a nice job with this heifer. Let's give her a round of applause as she exits the ring, please.
And from Class 4, your late junior yearling, exhibited by Taylor Ferguson. Class 5 will be a junior yearling. Exhibited by Drew Clausen.
Another Hereford heifer that comes into the ring and balances up pretty nice from the side. And one thing you like about this heifer is she's very trim about her neck. She's very nice and feminine there in her front 1/3, and nice shouldered Hereford heifer. It gets around the ring pretty well. Let's give the young man a nice round of applause as he leaves the ring, please.
And from Class 5, your Hereford Junior Yearling, exhibited by Drew Clausen. Class 6 Hereford Senior Yearling will be our next class. And Class 7 to the makeup area. Class 7 to makeup, please. Class 6 Senior Yearling, exhibited by Aubrey Ferguson.
Really high quality big Hereford heifer the young lady brings into the ring, and she tells me she's due to calve this fall, and with everything we're seeing right now, she's going to make an excellent cow for the young lady. Real stout made heifer, big footed, strong top. Really like the squareness of hip in this heifer. Looks like she's going to lay down and have a nice calf for the young lady. Let's give her a round of applause. We'll bring the other two out here and see how she stands to the next of them.
And from Class 6, your Senior Yearling, exhibited by Aubrey Ferguson. So if we can have back from Class 4 our late Junior Yearling. And from Class 5, Drew Clausen with the Junior Yearling. And from Class 6, Aubrey Ferguson with the Senior Yearling. For our champion and reserve champion, Hereford Heifer. okay. It's okay. Leave it alone.
A lot of differences in these Hereford heifers that we have to select for your champion. And we'll start down with the young lady in yellow. Like this heifer from the side, like her femininity, like how she's long and extended through that front end. I like her trimness of neck for a Hereford heifer. Like the squareness of hip. If you could change her a little bit, I'd like to make her just a little deeper bodied in relation to how this heifer is in her age and her development compared to the bigger heifer in the ring. When she's on the move, if I could ask her to take a little longer stride off that front end, I think she could do that in relation to the other two heifers in the ring. But the young lady does a nice job with her. Let's talk about the young man's heifer. Real thick-ended, real broody, really kind of a meat and potatoes type of Hereford heifer. If you could change her a little bit, you'd like to make her a little nicer balance, more eye-peeling from the side in relation to the other two Hereford heifers in the ring. But a nice Hereford heifer. She's going to have some depth. She's going to have some power for this young man going down the road. And the young lady's big Hereford heifer, a Hereford heifer that when she walks into the ring, you love her squareness of hip, you love her femininity, you love her broodiness, really a stout-legged, stout-footed Hereford heifer that gets around the ring very well. Like that about her. Could she be a little more powerful? Could she be a little stronger in her top? Yes, but when you get her on a profile, really do like that hip, really do like her sound-structured athleticism. I'll select your champion in reserve. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
And your champion is exhibited by Aubrey Ferguson from Class 6. And your reserve champion exhibited by Taylor Ferguson from Class 4. The banner for champion Hereford was donated by Colbert Polled Herefords. And Aubrey, if you'll go ahead and lead out, followed by Taylor. Followed by Drew Clausen.
I have no idea what happened there. Next is German American bag.
We're now ready for Class 7, Shorthorn Plus. It's a single entry in that division. And entering the ring is Bryce Bennett with a Shorthorn Plus Junior Yearling.
I don't know if I want to get wrapped up in. I mean, I'd be willing to go help if you're going to show. I don't know if I want to. I don't know. It is everything. A lot of weekends.
And would like to have Class 8 to the makeup area and Class 9 to the makeup area.
really high quality single entry here in your Shorthorn Plus division. A heifer that gets around the ring pretty good. Heifer that you really like her on the side view profile, balances up nice, really nice and deep. You set her in motion and she looks like a nice athletic, free-moving heifer. You get behind her and she's got some power. She's got a lot of depth of rib. Young man does an excellent job showing this heifer, and she's very well presented. Nice-looking heifer. Let's give her a round of applause, please.
And your Shorthorn Plus Junior Yearling, exhibited by Bryce Bennett. And that is also your champion in that division, and the banner donated by German American Bank. Our next class will be a Shorthorn Junior Yearling. Again, in the Shorthorn division, we have a single entry.
Another pretty fancy single entry here in your Shorthorn heifer division, and a heifer that when you set her in motion, you like that long stride she takes. You like how she sets her foot down. You like the flexibility she's got. And those pasterns off the front end and the rear, you get her on the side view profile, and I really like the femininity and the length of neck she has up there through her front end. If you could change her a little bit, probably make her a little bit more powerful when you get behind her, but a nice February single entry the young lady brings in. Let's give her a round of applause, please.
And your Shorthorn division and your champion Shorthorn, exhibited by Addison Holstein, and that banner is donated by the Margaret Berry family. We next have two classes of commercial heifers. So we have an individual coming in Class 9. Class 9, Sierra Andrews with commercial heifer.
She's been here every night. The Daviess kind of one has. Well, the guy that's with her is friends with Tyler Boyd, so I'd say that's the reason they're coming.
Chloe Browning.
I saw it. I just,
pretty powerful little miniature Hereford Heifer here to start off your commercial heifer division, and that's what you do have to appreciate about this heifer is she's pretty strong top, she's pretty thick-ended, and she's got a lot of power for her size and for her frame. Let's give the exhibitor a nice round of applause, please.
And exhibiting your commercial heifer is Sierra Andrews. Now ready for Class 10, also a commercial heifer. This heifer is exhibited by Nellie Arms. And Class 11 to the makeup area. Class 12 to the makeup area.
Another real high quality single entry here in your commercial heifer division, and a really structurally sound heifer, a really long bodied heifer. For her size and her stature and her frame, you like the muscle that she possesses, you like the power she possesses. Young lady does a nice job showing this heifer. Let's give her a round of applause as she exits the ring, please.
And your Class 10 commercial heifer exhibited by Nellie Arms. And if we can have back in from Class 9, Sierra Andrews, and back in from Class 10, Nellie Arms. Coming in from Class 9 is Sierra Andrews, followed by Nellie Arms. And we'll name a champion and reserve champion commercial heifer.
two really different ones to select to for your champion commercial, not only in color but in size and frame. And let's talk about them a little bit. The Hereford Heifer, like we said in class, really deep-bodied, really thick-ended, really powerful for her size and frame. Just like to make her a little bit more feminine, much like the black heifer, the young lady's black heifer. Really like the femininity she has through her front end. Really athletic, free-moving heifer. She looks really nice and well-balanced from the profile. She's the more feminine heifer. She's going to be your champion, and the Hereford will be your reserve. Let's give them a round of applause, please.
So your champion commercial heifer is exhibited by Nellie Arms, and that banner is donated by Hart Farms. And your reserve champion commercial heifer is exhibited by Sierra Andrews. Class 11 is an all other breed division. We have a single entry, summer yearling heifer.
Really powerful, modern framed heifer here to start off your AOBs. Young man does a nice job with this black and chromed up heifer. When you get behind her, you really like the amount of muscle she has there through her hip and hind quarter, carries that muscle on down her top, and she's got a nice spring of rib, got a lot of nice rib shape there when you get behind her. If you could change her a little bit, maybe make her a little bit more feminine, but super powerful, super wide-based AOB heifer. Let's give him a round of applause, please. He exits the ring.
And your AOB summer yearling heifer is single in that division, exhibited by Cale Baker. We now have two classes of Semental. We'll begin with class 12, which is a Semental late junior yearling. We have a single entry there.
really feminine type of heifer here in this single entry, and a heifer that when you set her in motion, you really like that length of stride. You like her flexibility and how she gets about the ring. Appreciate the depth of body she brings out here tonight. Let's give the young man a round of applause as he goes out the ring with this heifer, please.
And from Class 12, the Semental Late Junior Yearling, exhibited by Owen Barber. Now ready for Class 13, Semental Junior Yearling. And exhibiting here is Nellie Arms.
There's a lot of things to like about this February-born Semental heifer, and the young lady does a nice job getting this heifer presented. A heifer that when you set her in motion, you like the things when she's in motion, and when you get her on the profile, appreciate a lot of things about her, especially her femininity or depth of rib. You get behind her and a heifer that is feminine from the rear, but yet powerful enough, and really like this heifer. Let's give her a round of applause, please.
And from Class 13, your Semental Junior Yearling, exhibited by Nellie Arms. We'll now show for our champion and reserve champion Semental. So from Class 12, if we can have Owen Barber. And from Class 13, Nellie Arms. So Class 14 to the makeup area, Class 14 to makeup.
I went and sit down with Ray.
two pretty nice heifers here to select for your champion Semental, and some heifers that have a lot of similarities, and then some heifers that have some differences as well. And to talk about the similarities, both heifers look really nice and really well presented, especially from the side view profile where I'm standing right now. Nicely balanced, level top, square hipped, sound moving heifers. The differences are the young lady's heifer, she's bigger, she's stouter. When you get behind her, she's a little wider based. She's just a really high quality individual. Not to take anything away from the young man's heifer, but today the young lady is going to be champion, the young man will be reserved. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
And your champion Semental comes out of Class 13, exhibited by Nellie Arms. And the reserve champion Semental comes out of Class 12, exhibited by Owen Barber. That banner is donated by the Jeff Jarrett family. We're now moving to our final division, which is Sim Solutions. We have 2 classes. And we'll begin with Class 14. We'll have 3 entries. For those of you that have champions, as we begin this final division, we need you to be preparing your animal to come back in for Supreme Champion Heifer. So on the Angus, we have Wyatt Barber, Maintainer, Colin Bennett, Kianina, K.O. Baker, Hereford, Aubrey Ferguson, Shorthorn Plus, Bryce Bennett, Shorthorn, Addison Holstein, Commercial, Nellie Arms, AOB, K.O. Baker, and Semental, Nellie Arms. We just have a couple of classes and we'll be ready for you. So coming into the ring now, we have Blake Barber, Aiden Baker, and Nellie Arms. This is Class 14 Sim Solution.
lot of differences in this class, and I'll try to describe the way I see them today. The young ladies heifer we're going to use to win the class really like the length of spine, femininity of her front end. You like the structural soundness of this heifer. I prefer her structural soundness of the other two in the class today. Obviously, when you get her on the profile, she's got some natural spring and rib. She's got some natural muscle shape. If you could change her a little bit, like to make her a little bit longer hipped, I think that's where the heifer in second place kind of excels. The young man's heifer is a longer hipped heifer. Doesn't quite come out of her tail head as nicely as our class winner, but I do like this heifer out of her hip. And again, got some body to her, probably just a little flatter sided, a little flatter muscled, and not quite as comfortable on that stride when you set her in motion. Young man's red heifer, I like this heifer in a lot of things. She's moderate frame, she's powerful, she's got a lot of depth of body, she's got a lot of spring and rib, but just doesn't fall in place with the other heifers today as far as their frame size. When you set her in motion, I'd sure like to make her a little bit more comfortable in that hock, make her a little bit more flexible on those rear pasterns, but a nice high quality heifer. Nice class. Let's give these exhibitors a round of applause, please.
Your Class 14, Nellie Arms first, followed by Hayden Baker, followed by Blake Barber. And Blake will be coming right back in with another animal for Class 15, so we'll give him a little bit of a chance to get lined out. And your Class 15, Sim Solutions Senior Yearling in the ring, Blake Barber. We have one class left on this before we move to our Supreme Champion heifer. So those of you that have champions, we need you heading to the makeup area. Angus, Wyatt Barber, Maintainer, Colin Bennett, Kianina, Cale Baker, Hereford, Aubrey Ferguson, Shorthorn Plus, Bryce Bennett, Shorthorn, Addison Holstein, Commercial, Nellie Arms, AOB, Cale Baker, and Semental, Nellie Arms.
Real rugged made, thick-ended single entry here we have in your Sim Solutions show. Like the structural soundness of this heifer when the young man leads her around the ring. And again, you like the power she possesses, you like the shape that she's got. Let's give him a round of applause, please, and we'll bring some competition out here for him.
And your Class 15 Sim Solutions Senior Yearling, exhibited by Blake Barber. And Nellie, if you'll bring yours back in, and Blake, if you'll stay in here, please. And leading in from Class 14 is Nellie Arms, and from Class 15, Blake Barber. This is for your champion and the reserve champion, Sim Solution.
two pretty nice heifers to select from for your champion sim solution, and two heifers I wouldn't mind owning myself, and I think that means a lot as far as their quality and their design. Two heifers that are put together pretty nice, but I think there are some differences. We'll talk about the young man's heifer a little bit. Again, we described her as kind of powerful, kind of broody, shapely, has a lot of things going for her from that standpoint. If you could change her a little bit, probably like to make her a little bit more feminine fronted, a little bit trimmer neck, a little bit trimmer in her throat, and balance her up a little bit nicer from the side profile. And the young lady's heifer, that's where she kind of excels. She's a little more feminine fronted, a little cleaner crested, a little cleaner throated. You get her on the profile, she balances up a little nicer. When we talked about her in class, we said she's a little bit shorter hipped, but in relation to the young man's heifer, I don't think that hurts her today. That being said, young lady's going to be your champion, young man will be your reserve. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
So your champion sim solution comes out of a class 14, exhibited by Nellie Arms. And your reserve champion comes out of class 15, exhibited by Blake Barber. And that banner is donated by the Margaret Berry family. Our next class will be Supreme Champion Heifer, and we would like for you to come into the ring in this order if at all possible. And we're going to have a fairly full ring, so need to have you move down fairly far in the ring to the west end. So if we're ready to go, we would like to bring in the Angus with Wyatt Barber. The Maintainer with Colin Bennett. The Chianina with Cale Baker. The Hereford with Aubrey Ferguson. The Shorthorn Plus with Bryce Bennett. The Shorthorn with Addison Holstein. The Commercial with Nellie Arms. The AOB with Cale Baker. The Semental with Nellie Arms. and the Sim Solution with Nellie Arms.
Let's give all your exhibitors a round of applause here. Show for Grand Champion effort, please. Pretty special for your county to have this many high-quality heifers out here to choose from, and all the exhibitors have been really nice to work with this evening here in your heifer show. And even though we've had several single entries, they've all been pretty high-quality entries, and described them in class and talked about them. And there's a lot of good things about all these heifers out here. And when you get them out here, that's when it becomes fun. That's when it becomes fun to sort through and pick and choose. We're going to talk about a few of the heifers just real briefly. And first we'll talk about young lady's Hereford Heifer. She comes out of the division where there was a little bit of competition. There were some other good Hereford Heifers in that division, but the young lady's heifer, she's stout made, she's broody, she's real square hipped. She balances up pretty nice on a profile. Nice Hereford heifer. Young man Shorthorn Plus, a real eye-appealing heifer, really nicely balanced. Kind of does a lot of things right. Powerful, eye-appealing, feminine, sound-structured. Young man does a nice job sticking that heifer. Young lady Semental heifer in the pink down here on the end. A heifer that's really long and extended, really nice necked, really nice shouldered. You like the natural shape she has. You like the natural broodiness she has. But with that being said, I'm going to take one final look, select your grand and reserve. Let's give them a round of applause again, please.
So your Supreme Champion heifer is exhibited by Bryce Bennett, and your Reserve Supreme Champion heifer comes from the Semental division and is exhibited by Nellie Arms. We need to leave the rest of you in here because we still need a Daviess County bred heifer selected. Colin and Cale, you could go ahead and go out. You're not a Daviess County bred. And the banner for Reserve Supreme was donated by the Robert Beard family.
We're okay with what's here. Sheep gowns, some sheep gowns. So we're good.
We're fine, Mr. Judge, with what we have. And the banner for County Bred Heifer is donated by the Phil Myers family.
Y'all should be very proud of your grand and reserve because I'm pretty impressed with both of them. And to kind of explain myself a little bit, your grand champion, one that's hard to put a hole in. And when you watch a heifer like this walk around the ring, just one to really put a hole in. She puts everything together very nice. And when you get her on the side view profile, that's probably one spot where she shines in relation to the reserve, in my opinion. She's got that added up their depth all the way back from her brisket all the way to her flank. She balances up just beautifully. The reserve, again, a long-fronted, long-sided, very feminine heifer, does all the things well, but I think that's what that's why they sort for me today. So 2 really nice heifers. I think y'all should be very proud of them. When it comes to your champion Daviess County heifer, it probably for me comes down to your Hereford and your Sim Solution. I think there's a lot of differences. The Sim Solution heifer balances up pretty nice. She's very feminine fronted. I just wish she was a little bit more powerful. I wish she was a little bit more shapely. And I am impressed with your Hereford heifer. That being said, she's going to be your champion. Let's give her a round of applause, please.
And your Hereford Heifer becomes your champion Daviess County bred heifer, and that one is exhibited by Aubrey Ferguson. That does conclude our heifer division. We're going to take about a 5-minute break, as many of these exhibitors will be coming right back in on the steer side of the show, so we will take a 5-minute break. and then which is our dairy beef, and then we'll start with our beef steer show, starting with class 18. So in just a couple of minutes, we'll invite you into the ring and be ready to roll. And I see our heifers are in the picture booth at the moment, along with the judge in that picture. So it'll take just a minute to work that through. We are ready to begin. We'll begin with class 16, which is our Ayrshire Steers. We have 2 entries, and let's go ahead and bring them into the ring. And leading in is Jordan Rimsberg, and those of you, and follow it is Lucas Hastings. And those of you that have been here for some other shows this week will remember that Jordan has had her one arm in a sling off and on during the week, so we certainly don't want that aggravated, and a little bit of help is always worthwhile.
Two pretty similar steers here to start off your dairy show, and and I assume they're pretty similar in weight as well. But the differences I see is the young lady steer probably excels in muscle shape, and muscle volume. That being said, she's going to be your class champion. Young man will be in second. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
And from Class 16, Ayrshire Steer exhibited by Jordan Rimsberg, followed by Lucas Hastings. And next will be our Class 17, which is a milking shorthorn steer. And your milking shorthorn is exhibited by David Rimsberg. And you okay, David? Hang in.
It's always awkward being a single entry, and I think that one people should remember is when an animal's out here in the ring by himself, they just want to be back with another animal, and that kind of explains some of the behavior when you have a single entry. So like the young man steer, he's an athletic steer. He's a sound structured steer. He's just pretty green with a lot of feed and some more days. I think he's going to go into a nice market steer. But let's give him a round of applause in the meantime, please.
And exhibiting Class 17 is David Rimsberg. And do we still have the Jordan's Ayrshire out there? So that she does not have to lead that, please just bring it into the corner and the judge can judge that rather than hurt her arm. Just right there in the corner, read on the right, either or left, either one. Thank you.
You know, simply put, nice things about both of these steers, but the major difference is the young lady steers is going to excel in time and days and frame and weight is the big thing today. This steer's closer to its market endpoint. The young man steer will get there with some more time and some more days and some more feed, but at this time, young lady steer, she'll be your champion.
So your champion dairy comes from Class 16, exhibited by Jordan Rimsberg, and your reserve champion comes from Class 17, exhibited by David Rimsberg. Please give him a hand. And that banner is donated by a friend of 4-H. So we'll begin now with Class 18 Crossbred Steer. We have a single entry, to be followed by a second class of crossbred steers, of which we have 2 entries. So we'll begin with Class 18, a single entry. And coming in Class 18 Crossbred Steer is Gracie Madison.
Yeah, sure as heck was. Responding at the same time. Stopping it and talking at the same. She is a. Hate to see her graduating.
Pretty thick-ended steer in this first class of crossbred steers. A steer that's got some muscle down his top. You get behind him and you're not disappointed by the muscle shape he's got from behind. You set him in motion, he gets around the ring all right. But when you get your hands on him, he's feeling pretty bare over his ribs, and that's to be a understanding for being a 1,000-pound crossbred steer. But let's give that young lady a round of applause for hanging on to that steer. That's tough to do. Let's give her a round of applause, please.
And from Class 18, exhibiting Gracie Madison. We're ready now for Class 19 Crossbred Steers. We have 2 in that particular class. Entering the ring right now is Emma Yoder, Class 19 Crossbred Steer. And coming in also is Tyler Boyd. If we could get Class 20 to the makeup area, Class 20 Angus to the makeup area. Our 10-year member assisting us with ribbons at this part of the show is Owen Jarrett. Owen is a son of Jeff and Chris Jarrett, a member of the Jefferson 4-H Club, a recent Bar Reeve graduate, and is headed for Purdue to pursue aviation. And welcome, Owen.
Well, pretty two highly competitive steers that fell into the same class, and these steers are very well presented, very well shown, very high quality, thick-made steers, weighing 1,400 pounds, the right size. Really appreciate about them. Young lady steer we're going to win the class with. When you get him on the profile, he balances up nicer than the second place steer for me today. You set him in motion, he's more comfortable on those rear feet. I like how he's a little deeper in his rear flank. I like how he's bolder and more spring of rib there through his fore rib. He's shapely all the way through. He balances up, and that's where he breeds the second place steer for me today. Man, you got to appreciate the stoutness of bone, the stoutness of foot, the muscle shape that this steer has, but I would like to balance him up a little bit in relation to our class winner. I'd like to make him a little bolder, a little more open there in his fore rib. Like to deepen him down in his flank, but you like the muscle shape in both of them. When you ask the second place steer to travel, just a little more rigid, just a little more uncomfortable in those rear legs for me. That's the way I see him. Two really nice steers. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
And from Class 19, first place exhibited by Emma Yoder, followed by Tyler Boyd. And now for our champion crossbred, if we could get Gracie to bring in from Class 18, followed by Emma from Class 19.
You know, for all the good that I described in this last class winner, the one thing I failed to mention is when you get your hands on him, he handles pretty fresh for weighing over 1,400 pounds. So you really do have to appreciate that about him. And to go even further, when you compare him to the other class winner out here, just a sheer size of pounds and performance and weight today is going to bring this one to the top for me. She'll be your champion crossbred steer. Let's give her a round of applause, please.
And Tyler, if we could get you to bring yours up, please, for a reserve. And your champion crossbred is exhibited by Emma Yoder. That calf also is third place rate of gain winner.
And when you bring the second place in out of that class, that is a tough class, very comparable steers as far as quality goes. And again, same old song and dance, a steer that is this thick and has high quality and close to, and at his market endpoint compared to the other young ladies steer, he'll be your reserve. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
And your reserve champion crossbred is exhibited by Tyler Boyd. And Emma, if you go ahead and lead out, please, followed by Tyler, followed by Gracie. The banner for Crossbred Steer is donated by Paul and David Flint Pioneer Seeds. Our next division will be Angus Steers. We have 2 entries. We'll determine a champion and a reserve from those 2.
top left corner just so you remember which one. Yeah.
So our Angus Steers leading in now. We have Brent Barber and Owen Barber.
Same.
Straight across. In the wheelchair.
Oh, yeah.
Looks pretty very. Haven't seen him for a while. You know, two very similar Angus steers here to select for your champion Angus, and I think it doesn't matter if you're talking about their weight or their how they're designed or how they move, or when you get them on the side view profile like this, they're very similar. I think there are some differences, and one thing I see is the young man in the front position right now. You get behind his steer, and you get your hands on his steer, and he handles with more muscle down his top. He's got a little more finish over his rib, and he's got more muscle and muscle shape there in his hip and hind quarter. The young man in the second hole right now balances up pretty nice, and probably balances up better than the young man in the front hole right now. But again, a steer I think is a little flatter sided, a little lighter muscled, and doesn't handle just quite as well as the young man in the front hole. That being said, young man, you'll be champion. You'll be reserve. Congratulations to both of you.
And your Angus Steers, champion exhibited by Brent Barber, reserved by Owen Barber, and your champion placed second in rate of gain, and your reserve champion placed first in rate of gain. And that banner is in memory of Walter Harner. Our next class is a single entry in the Hereford division. We have Coming into the ring, Evan Clausen. And we need our Shorthorn Plus Class 22 to the makeup area.
I'll tell you, it doesn't take me very long to get a good opinion of this steer. And when you see one walk in the ring like this, it's a shame he doesn't have any competition out here to show against today, because he could stand some pretty high-quality Hereford steer here, folks. A steer that he's at the right weight, he's the right size, he's got the muscle shape. And when you get your hands on him, I tell you what, handle's about as good as you could ask one to handle. Weighing 1401 at the size where a person can make some money on steers, and a Hereford steer that balances up as nice as you could ask one to balance up. Nice Hereford steer. He'll be your champion. Let's give him your round of applause, please.
And your Hereford Steer champion, exhibited by Evan Clausen. That banner donated by the Kelly Ferguson family. We're now ready for our Shorthorn Plus, Class 22. We have 2 entries. So Class 22 Shorthorn Plus entering the ring is Addison Holstein. Followed by Bryce Bennett. To the makeup area with our Maine Anju steers for Class 23.
Another couple high quality Shorthorn Plus steers, much like our Crossbred steers. A lot of quality here. Our Crossbreds were pretty similar. Our Shorthorn Pluses are both good, but I think pretty different. And we'll talk about them a little bit. Young Lady's black steer, you get him on the profile, and I like how he balances up. Square hip steer, stout bone steer, really moves pretty good. And when you get your hands on him, he handles pretty nice, a little over 1,300 pounds. Appreciate that about the steer. When you talk about the young man's red steer, first thing that comes to mind is muscle shape, muscle mass, base width, thick top steer, and that's where he excels over the black steer is his muscle. You get your hands on him, and he does handle with some finish. Maybe not quite as much finish there at the 12th and 13th rib, but for weighing just a tick over 13, I think he handles pretty good. I think there's more days in both these steers. I think you could feed both these steers for another 50, 100 pounds, and they're still going to handle fresh. That being said, I think the young man's red steer just overpowers the black steer for me today, and let's give him a round of applause. He'll be your champion. Young lady will be your reserve.
In your Shorthorn Plus, your champion is exhibited by Bryce Bennett, and the reserve champion is exhibited by Addison Holstein. That banner is donated by Heath Berry. Our next class is Class 23. Will be Maine Anju Steers. We have 2 entries. Okay. And coming into the ring now is Sierra Andrews. Followed by Hannah Yoder. Our next class will be Sementals steers to the makeup area. Following Semental, we will move to the Grand Champion Drive. On Crossbred, we will need Emma Yoder, Angus Brent Barber, Hereford Evan Clausen, Shorthorn Plus, Bryce Bennett.
Paper looks more than 35 pounds difference.
I'm sorry.
I said, looking at the paper, it looks like more than 35 pounds difference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of that. I was really happy to see the Andrews calf weigh what it weighed. Maybe it's big in the compliment. Right, correct. Probably brought Sierra.
Could it? Well, he had somebody with him, but I don't remember who it was.
two different type and kinds for me in this division. And I think both of them are pretty good in their own right. And I think both of them serve two different purposes. The Starface Steer, we'll talk about him first. A steer that you like the front end, you like the length of front end, you like the length of side. Big, stout steer. Handles really good, folks. You get your hands on him, and he handles about as good as you could ask one to handle. And you like that about him. Has he got some muscle? Yes. Does he have some thickness and some power? Yes, he does. But the young lady's black steer excels him in that. He's far thicker topped. He's far thicker ended and wider based. Could you ask both of them to move just a little better today? I think so, especially on their rear feet. Give them a little more flex, give them a little bit more comfort. I think both of them could use that. But the young lady steer balances up just really nice from the side. Could you ask him to be a little longer fronted, much like the steer stands in front of him? You sure could, but one that balances up nice, powerful, eye appealing. This one will be your champion. This one will be your reserve. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
Class 23 Maine, champion exhibited by Hannah Yoder. Reserve champion exhibited by Sierra Andrews. And that banner is donated by a friend of 4-H. We're now to Class 24 Sementals, and again, for those of you that have champions, please get to the makeup area, because following this Semental class, we will move to Grand Champion Steer. We're now ready for Class 24 Semental Steers to the ring. Leading in is Nellie Arms. Followed by Addison Holstein.
some tough decisions here to make in this division, and that's for sure as far as I'm concerned. And just to describe him a little bit, here's what I'm seeing, folks. Young lady in the pink, nice steer, handles very well. You get your hands on him, and he's well finished from front to back, pretty even, and can't ask for one to handle too much better. And when you get him on the side profile, you like the depth of rib. He's got muscle, and he looks good. Less showy, little probably doesn't balance up as nice as the young lady in the green. And when you talk about the young lady in the green, you get your hands on this steer, a bigger top steer for sure. Handles up more width, more dimension there down that top line. You get behind him, he's got more width, got more dimension, got more muscle shape from behind there through that hip. A nice balanced steer. And when you get your hands on him, he's got finish on him. Does he handle as nice? Probably not. But can he be fed longer? Most certainly. It's not going to hurt a thing for this young lady to feed this steer for another month. Show him again. Show him at State Fair. Very high quality, and I like that about him. When you get him on the profile, I think this steer balances up a little nicer. When you get behind this steer, I think he overpowers the young lady with the pink shirt. Nothing wrong with either of them. Tough decisions to make. But today I'm on go with the Bronco face steer. It'll be your champion. This steer will be your reserve. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
And from your Class 24 Sementals, your champion is exhibited by Addison Holstein. Your reserve exhibited by Nellie Arms. The banner for that class is donated by David and Deborah Freddy. We're now ready for our Grand Champion drive. And we'll begin, preferably if you would come in this order. We'll start with the Crossbred, which would be Emma Yoder. Followed by the Angus, Brent Barber. The Hereford, Evan Clausen. The Shorthorn Plus, Bryce Bennett. The Maine Anju, Hannah Yoder. And the Semental with Addison Holstein. And the Grand Champion Steer banner is donated by the Jerry Lawyer family. So we go to showmanship. We got to do kind of the.
When you get to the Clover Showmanship, Wyatt Barber has side mount numbers.
Okay. We're scratching. Jack. The one that's already in the ring. And Nelly.
What are you gonna fly? You gonna fly jets? Best structure.
Following this grand drive, we will select a county bred and individual and then move to showmanship. So if you're in Clover Showmanship, that class is quickly approaching.
What an outstanding set of steers to pick for your Grand Champion steer here in this county. I think we should give these kids a huge round of applause, folks. This is really impressive. It's my first time to y'all's fair, and I'm thoroughly impressed, and I do mean that. I'm not kidding at all. Your heifer show was really competitive, and you had some really nice heifers. But I tell you what, folks, your steer show outdid them. There's been quality from top to bottom. There's been steers staying second that would win most fairs, and that says a lot for the people in your county, these kids and the families and the breeders. Just thoroughly impressed, really, truly impressed. We'll talk about these steers a little bit. Young lady's crossbred steer, just good all-around steer. Thick made, nicely balanced, handles well, at the right weight, gets around the ring very well, very high-quality individual. Young man's Angus Steer runs into a buzzsaw today, folks. A nice steer, a steer that could use some more days and use some more feed, but a nice steer to represent that breed. Young man's Hereford Steer. I'm telling you what, folks, this is a good Hereford steer. He handles good, he's at the right weight, and he's going to win a lot of county fairs around the state. He's that good. He's a nice Hereford steer. Young man's red and white steer, a real powerhouse, real thick top, thick-ended. Could you ask him to balance up a little nicer, like some other steers in the ring, some black steers? You sure could, but you sure have to appreciate the stoutness that he has and the power that he has on the standstill and on the move. Young ladies steer, we come next. A super nice balanced steer, handles really well at the right weight. He's thick made. If you could change him a little bit, is he the longest fronted steer in the ring? Absolutely not. Could you like to lengthen him out there and make him a little longer hipped? You sure could. But when you get him on the profile, he balances up really, really nice. And then the young ladies steer out of the last division. Again, much like the red and white steer that stands up here, really powerful, really heavily constructed. You ask him to move, and he does so quite well. Could he be deeper bodied like some other steers in the ring? I think so. I like him for what he is today, but I would like to see him with a little more finish over his rib and a little deeper body. I tell you what, folks, this is impressive, and we raise cattle at home. We feed cattle, and then we also raise calves, and I like doing both. Heifers are fun. That's the profitability. That's where you make some money. But the steers, when it gets to this point, when you're working with kids and you're letting kids show steers and you make it competitive and you make it fun, folks, this is the fun part of 4-H. This is the fun part of the beef show. Let's give these kids a round of applause. I'm going to select your Grand Champion steer up after I take another look.
And your Grand Champion steer comes out of the Crossbred division, exhibited by Emma Yoder. And Tyler Boyd, if we could get yours in here.
Well, just because you have the grand champion selected doesn't make the decisions any easier for me, and that's I'm being completely honest there. Young man's reserve that comes in, again, he was very similar to our grand champion, and that was a close selection there in that breed division. A steer that comes in very thick, very very heavy muscled. You like how wide based he is. If you could change him a little bit, you'd like to balance him up a little nicer. You'd like to see him a little bolder there in that forerib, little deeper there in that flank, but a lot of good in that steer. You like the length of front end. If you could change him a little bit, you'd like to make him a little more athletic, a little more flexible on those wheels, but a good steer in his own right. Again, I'm happy with our grand champion steer, and much like we talked about the heifers, in that heifer show, that was just a no-holes heifer. You can't put a hole in that heifer. I can't put a hole in that steer today. It's hard to beat that steer. The next steer in line is much of the same for me. It's the one that I can't beat today, and it's the next no-hole steer for me. Be this young lady right here. Let's give her a round of applause. You'll be our reserve.
So your main Anju with Hannah Yoder is your reserve grand champion steer, and that banner is donated by Terry and Susie Ferguson. So, Emma, if you would go ahead and lead out, please, followed by Hannah. And Brent, we would like you to stay in the ring, please. And Nellie, if we could get you to bring your Semental back in for county bred. Need to keep that one, Terry. And Mr. Judge, these would be our two. Mr. Judge, these would be our two in consideration for county bred. And that banner is donated by Tom and Marcia Boyd.
Very nice representative of steers raised here in the county, and to be honest with you, the young lady in the pink, you don't forget that steer because that was a hard steer to beat in class. A steer that you'd love to have a whole pen of him. I promise. I'd love to have a whole pen of him at home. Thick made, handles great. This steer just ran into some awful competition today. You'll be our champion bred known in the county.
And your county bred is exhibited by Nellie Arms out of the Semental division. And Brent, if you'll go ahead and follow out, please. Our next will be Showmanship. We'll begin with Clover Showman, and if you'll go ahead and head to the makeup area.
Well, that's right.
And then we also have the livestock nomination cards for the auction. They need those back yet this evening. So if you plan to put a steer in the livestock auction, Jack Colbert has the cards. You need to get them completed yet this evening and back to him. Or to Paul Flint, either one. Either Jack Colbert or Paul Flint.
Got these blue cards that why don't you just give Paul some of those? Thank you for your work.
Just one. No, select one.
Oh, just select one. Okay, yeah.
Right now we have
Senior's the only thing we selected more than one.
Supposedly 6 clovers coming.
We supposedly have 6 clovers coming.
Let's select
And seniors, at the moment, I'm sure Jordan's not going to come. We only got 3 going to come in.
Addison and
So you have to place them all.
Gracie, Addison, and Tyrone. We've got about 7 or 8 juniors.
8 juniors, but only 1 junior.
So if the Clover Showmen are out there and are ready to start in, we're ready for them to come in. I would like for him to get pictures, but if they can wait, it would be nice.
We got a bunch for you, Ron.
Pardon? Order? Beef will be last. Beef will be last. Not where I want them, but that's what happens every 4 years.
So, Gary, do we have several clover out there ready to come in?
You want the kids to come in?
I want kids to move the show myself. So Mr. Judge, we're coming in with our Clover Showman. Leading in is Brent Barber. Additional Clover Showman. Hayden Baker. Drew Clausen. Brent. No. Blake Barber. Aubrey Ferguson. And whether Colin is coming or not. May have one more, Mr. Judge. Colin Bennett. Waiting for Colin Bennett. And if the juniors would go ahead to the makeup area, juniors to the makeup area. Each participant in showmanship will receive a rope halter, and the winner in each division will receive a chair as well as a Visa gift card. You'll have to go to the office in order to get the gift card. The chair is donated by the Mark Barber family. The cards are dedicated by Bear Crop Science DeKalb Ascro, and the halters are donated by the Odin Vet Clinic. Again, junior showmanship to the makeup area.
Really nice set of Clover exhibitors we have out here, and I didn't talk to them all individually, but I wanted to kind of talk to them as a group, and I guess my advice on the showing part of it is, folks or young people, is first thing is try to keep their head up. Okay, keep their head up all the time, whether you're leading them, whether you're setting them up, and just keep their head up. Second thing is, where do you hold the halter, okay? You want your hand on that chain. You don't want it right up next to their head, about that far away from their head, but just keep your hand on that chain. And the thing I tell my kids at home and other kids in our 4-H club and kids in our county is, when that animal is doing something you don't want it to do, or it's trying to walk and you don't want it to walk, you take that halter and you just give it a jerk, okay? You get their attention, okay? Use that chain, use that halter to get their attention, and that will teach them about you and how you show and how you handle them. Another piece of advice is watch some of these older kids, and I like how you do the Clovers first, and I'll encourage all of you to sit in the stands and watch these next two divisions, because there's a lot of things you can learn about watching good showmen. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's this fair or if you go to a big open show or to the state fair. I think that's a pretty valuable thing that kids can do, is go to a show and watch some older people show and what they do and how they do it. And you'll catch a lot of pointers, you'll catch a lot of things you can do that will improve your showmanship techniques, okay? Third thing is, you got to work with them at home, okay? You got to get the animal used to you. You got to get used to the animal. And I promise you, the more you work with them at home, the more comfortable you're going to be, the more comfortable that animal is going to be around you, and it's going to show in the show ring, I promise. There's one showman out here this evening that describes what I just said. It's obvious that there's been a lot of work put in at home, because the showman's comfortable with the animal's comfortable with the showman, and that showman is comfortable out here, okay? They look comfortable, they act comfortable, they know what to do, and they've got the animal's head up. They know how to handle the show stick, and that's really the deciding factor for me tonight. So I want to congratulate all of you. You've done an excellent job. But our champion showman tonight is going to be the young lady with the Hereford. Let's give her a round of applause. Excellent job, young lady.
And your champion Clover Showman is Aubrey Ferguson. And Aubrey, if you go ahead and lead out, please. Followed by Colin Bennett. Followed by Blake Barber, Drew Clausen, Hayden Baker, and Brent Barber. Our next class will be our junior showman. At the moment, we're expecting about 8 participants. So as soon as the door is cleared, we would like for the juniors to be coming into the ring. The chair in that division is donated by the Joe Kendall family. The other items, the Visa gift card by the Bear Crop Science DeKalb Astro, and the brushes, blue brushes apparently, are being donated by the Odin Vet Clinic. So if you're in the junior and you're out there, now's the time to come in the ring. This is Nellie Arms, Owen Barber, K.O. Baker, Bryce Bennett, Evan Clausen, Taylor Ferguson, Emma Yoder, and Hannah Yoder.
Emma's the one with the ponytail.
91 is.
That's Emma, the one with the ponytail.
Got it right.
Our junior showmen are in the ring. If you're going to be in senior showmanship, this will be your one and only call for senior showmanship.
What an extremely hard-working group of junior exhibitors here. Let's give them a round of applause, please. They've worked their butts off tonight. You know, especially at a county fair, I'm one of the believers that showmanship starts class 1. And, you know, these kids come in the ring several times through the night, and you can't help but notice the ones that got a good animal, or the ones that are good showmen, or the ones that do a good job every time. You just can't help but notice it. That's just the way it is. And this is showmanship class, don't get me wrong, and you have to judge the exhibitors on how they perform here in the showmanship class, but you also remember how they performed throughout the show. And right or wrong, that's the way I look at it. These exhibitors have done an excellent job, and like I talked to the Clovers about, as far as there's a lot of showmanship that's won at home, and how you work with your animal and how comfortable your animal is with you and you with the animal. There's a lot of the evidence out here in this ring, and I hope some of the young kids are watching, because there's a few exhibitors out here that they don't have to work hard at it at all to get that animal looking the best they can. And let's remember that, folks. The job of a showman is to make that animal look as best as they can at all times, no matter where the judge is in the ring. There's one exhibitor that it doesn't matter if it's in showmanship or all night, I never could catch the calf not the way it needed to look. And out here, I'm going to be honest with you, this is extremely competitive. There's several exhibitors out here that deserve to be champion showmen. But the showman I'm going to select, it took them no time like that for that animal to be set and ready to look at every time. And the exhibitor won showmanship here in the ring, but it's evident that they spent that much more time at home doing the work at home. Your champion showman is going to be this young lady right here. Let's give her a round of applause.
And your junior showman is Nellie Arms. Nellie, congratulations. If you could go ahead and lead out, then Taylor, if you would follow her, please. Followed by Bryce Bennett, Hannah Yoder, Emma Yoder, Evan Clausen, Cale Baker, and Owen Barber. Congratulations to all of you. Our next and final class of the show will be our senior showmanship. The senior showman will receive a chair from Old National Bank, a Visa gift card from Bayer Crop Science DeKalb Astro, and a choice of a key ring from the Odin Vet Clinic. The reserve champion showman and senior will receive a chair from Tom and Marsha Boyd. as we begin to wind down the show, with the exception of finishing up here with senior showmanship. On behalf of those that have worked the ring and have worked the announcing stand, just want to thank all the sheep, swine, and cattle exhibitors and the respect and speed at which you've gotten into the ring and made everything work so well. Thank you so much. So here we have in the ring Tyler Boyd and Addison Holstein. Mr. Judge, that is it.
Well, what a way to wrap up your beef show. You got two really excellent showmen here in your senior division. Let's give this young man and this young lady a round of applause, please. Again, like in the other divisions, you've seen them in here before, and they've done an excellent job then. They've done an excellent job now. And really wanted to talk to the senior exhibitors a little bit more than I did the young people, because they're getting closer to the end of their 4-H days. And I think, in my opinion, us as 4-H volunteers, 4-H leaders, I think if we can send kids out into the world after their 4-H days and they can intelligently talk about agriculture, about the projects that they did in 4-H, whether that's corn or beans or cattle or pigs, and when people meet them with opposition as to why do you grow corn that way, or why do you feed that corn to cattle, or why do you raise pigs that way, hopefully these young kids that they may or may not farm for a living, but they grew up in 4-H and they know agriculture, hopefully they can intelligently talk to people and talk to consumers about why we do what we do. And I talked to both the kids about this, and both of them want to do different things in life, and that's okay, but they both had good answers, and they know what they're talking about. And that's all we can ask them to do, is to talk intelligently about what they had learned in 4-H to people the rest of their lives. As far as the showmanship out here in the ring, they've both done an excellent job. It comes down to personal preference, and one thing that I learned here at the end, but I think they've both done an excellent job. They deserve a lot of credit. It's splitting hairs here, and I hate that there's only two of you out here, and I hate that we have to place them. But, young lady, congratulations. You're going to be our champion showman. You'll be our reserve, young man.
And your senior showman is Addison Holstein. Your reserve is Tyler Boyd. Congratulations to both of you, and thank you for your participation in this event. As we round up the show this evening, we want to thank our judge, Andy Lowry. Appreciate him being here and evaluating our cattle for us, as well as our showmanship projects. Tomorrow will be the goat show in the afternoon. And we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow afternoon. We're ready for pictures.